welcome to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money and investing. I'm your host, Ray Treverson from OTG Capital. We broadcast locally on Radio Northern Beaches and around Australia. Compliments of the Community Broadcasting Association of Australia on the Community Radio Network. There's about 450 community radios, and if you want to see if Dollars and Making Sense is in your local area, just check with the CBAA, crn.org.au, I think is their website. But really big network of radio listeners. I'm told that over 1 million people listen to community radio on a weekly basis. We also go out on Spotify, we go out on iHeartRadio, YouTube, and we also post this on a blog on the OTG Capital website. Now, I'm really pleased to welcome back to the microphone Justin Bott, who is the Media Services Officer for Services Australia. Now, though some of you may know Services Australia in various forms, I normally like to say Centrelink, and I know Justin and I get into trouble for saying that, but it's the go-to, it's nice and easy. And this week we're actually going to talk something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, because Lord knows, given that we're coming up to Scam Awareness Week, I have to put my hand up and say guilty as charged. I've been scammed in the past.
I'm glad you said you've been scammed. I'm guilty charged. Have you been scamming people? Have you been a naughty boy?
Well, much to my chagrin, I find out that the dark web actually has websites that sell scamming platforms. So there's a market for so you know how you can go and buy web services from Amazon and Google and Azure and all that. On the dark web, you can buy these nefarious websites that will do the scamming on your behalf. And I was horrified when I read that there's such a business, and they're primarily coming out of the second world and utilizing third world resources and plundering the first world, because we don't have to worry about starvation and those kind of things. So I guess we're easy targets in that regard. So Justin, welcome back. I guess one of the fascinating things is that your own organization is a big target for these kind of scams, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So Services Australia, or MyGov, which we're obviously intimately connected with, there's an awful lot of stuff going out there. I only got one 2 days ago telling me that I needed to update or refresh my MyGov account and click on the link so that can happen. With Services Australia, there's obviously government money involved. And you're saying, this is an investment. I mean, scams, unfortunately, is big business. In Australia last year, we know that $318 million was lost in scams. So the reason they're doing it is because it's working.
That's an astounding number. That is an astounding number. Now, I'll throw some numbers back at you very interestingly, because people talk about, how do these emails get through? I used to work for a company called OpenWave, and we used to sell antivirus software to big customers, and our biggest customer here in Australia was Telstra. Now, when I was being product manager and doing this, and this is going back quite a number of years now, 15, 20 years ago now, when I was doing this in the IT game, something like 10 billion emails was going out on a daily basis, and the numbers were quite huge. But the estimates, according to the virus people that we knew, 99.95% of emails on the internet back in the late 2000s were nefarious. Yeah. So the actual percentage of real emails is minuscule. Yeah. And so when you're talking about sheer volume, there's so much of it out there that even if they have a 0.00001% success rate, that will still, as your numbers say, 318 million bucks.
Well, there was because that sort of thing is what's known as a phishing scam. We just put all the hooks out there and hope that we actually catch somebody. And there was 20 million in phishing scams. The biggest one I have to tell you is investment scams. 193 million lost in investment scams. That's all your industry.
I know. It's really sad.
The other one is 23 million in romance scams. So who says romance is dead?
That one floors me as well, and I've watched some documentaries on ABC and SBS of catfishing, I think is the term they use, isn't it? And I feel very sad, because these are desperately lonely people that are being plundered by, and they don't believe it when they're being shown these are people in Africa or Russia, and they're young men masquerading as older people looking for love and plundering, absolutely plundering poor defenseless people.
And it is important because, I mean, part of that is the issue of the whole I'm too embarrassed to tell anybody. I don't want people to know that I've been scammed because how stupid can I be? And it's really important to say that scams affect everybody. We're talking every age group, every socioeconomic class, every level of education, city, country, doesn't matter. Scams are affecting everybody. It's not a statement of your personal failures if you've been scammed. And the worst thing that you can do if you have been scammed is actually keep your head down and not tell anybody and not protect yourself. Say, I've got to prepare for the consequences of this scam happening. But yes, from a Services Australia's perspective, they're absolutely out there. Certainly over tax time, we know that there's a lot of ATO scams that come out as well. And the ATO is active about telling people, you know, it's around July. Scammers know that it's around July. There's a lot of information going out there. And one of the big things, we're going to talk about this many, many times, I'm sure, is the ones I received, it was that your MyGov account needs to be refreshed. Here's a link. Click on the link and you go into MyGov. You need to go to MyGov, click on this link and you'll get to there. And the most important message I think I'd be saying to anybody, it's a great way to know it's not from Services Australia, from MyGov, is when it does that exact thing. We aren't going to include a link in there. There's no shortcuts. If you want to get into MyGov safely and securely, you go, if you like, the longer way around. You either log into the MyGov website, which is my.gov.au, and you log in through that, or you use the MyGov app on your phone, which means that you set in, hopefully, the multi-factor authentication on your phone, and the phone, using the phone's own smart systems, or you're even using a passkey on your phone and using the phone's smart systems in order to make sure that you are, well, from our perspective, that you are actually you. The person on the other end of that email, the person on the other end of that electronic device is actually you, rather than somebody pretending to be you, so that we know that we can safely give you the information and do the updates that you want to have done. Because the worst thing you can do is give somebody the keys to the kingdom.
No.
Because if you've given them, like, so for example, you do click on that link and they take you to a website that looks an awful lot like the MyGov login website, and you give your MyGov account number and you log in and give them the new password, then you've just given them ability to log into MyGov on your behalf. Certainly if you're not using the multi-factor authentication on your phone. And we're not going to know. There's no way Services Australia is going to know that this isn't the person, because you unfortunately given them everything that they need. And they're going to use that because they want to steal your identity from Services Australia. If you're getting payments, they might want to try and change bank accounts or change your addresses so that you don't hear that they've changed bank accounts. Or if it's with other organizations, they want your bank details so they can create new credit cards in your name or take out loans in your name. You're stuck with the debt and they've taken the cash. So yeah, it's all about making sure that you are secure in this digital environment and as safe as you possibly can be.
Now, I think you raised a salient point there, Justin, because we are around, at the time of recording today's show, we are around tax time. Now, I actually got a message from MyGov because I pay people. And so I finalized payroll on my accounting software. And all these messages then go out and say, hey, your payment summary is ready to go. Now, I remember I clearly looked at the email and it said, you've got a message in your MyGov inbox. And that's all it said. There were no links. There was nothing else. And one of the really nice things that I notice now as well is that MyGov ID is now coming out. So there's a transition away from MFA to a new type of MFA, multi-factor authentication, using the MyGov ID or the government ID. And so I set that up a little while back because I do stuff for my businesses. But ladies and gents, I can tell you now the government ID app is brilliant. You can use it across a whole range of different government portals. And it's also handy for ID just in normal day-to-day transactions with banks or whatever, because it's government authored and the like. So look,
the other big tip, I mean, just getting into that, the other big tip about MyGov is setting up yourself with the MyGov passkey. So what we recommend, this is one of my big tips in dealing with us, is actually putting this MyGov passkey into place. To make a MyGov pass, it's like a multi-factor authentication. It's not just I'm putting in my PIN number or whatever it might be, the phone needs to make sure I'm me first before it's even letting me put in the PIN number. So the phone, we're using the phone security systems as the first level, then your PIN number as a second level, again, to stop that being from somebody else.
Pretty cool.
Now, if you want to set up one of those, what you've got to do is, first of all, make sure the device is your device and it's not a shared device, something that you and your partner might be using between the two of you. Make sure that your device actually has an operating system that supports that. If you're not sure, you can actually go to the MyGov website, which is my.gov.au/passkeys, all one word. So my.gov.au/passkeys, and you can check whether your phone has an operating system that allows a passkey to put in place. Then if that's all okay, sign into your MyGov account, go into the account settings menu, select passkeys, and then follow the prompts. You might need to re-enter your password or your digital ID. And then when you use your MyGov account or use the MyGov website and you're signing into the MyGov app, select sign in with passkeys. And that's just putting that extra level of security there. Because again, we will only send you a message that says go in this way, but we want to make sure that it's always you and not somebody pretending to be you, and putting that passkey in rather than just having a PIN number that you've potentially written somewhere or left some or used with.
Or if it's been phished. So this passkey then defeats that phishing, doesn't it?
It does, because they can't even get to that point because they don't meet the phone security systems to be able to get to that point.
Yeah.
This is my PIN number for MyGov, which just also happens to be the PIN number for my second bank account, or the PIN number for my locker at the gym, or the PIN number for whatever else I might be using that same PIN number for. So passkey is going to make sure to stop that from happening and give you that extra level of security. So I highly recommend it. Very easy to put in place. It's one of those things where it took longer for me to explain how to do it than it is to actually do it.
Okay, well, look, we're just about half time. You're here on Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. Really pleased to have at the microphone Justin Bott, who is the Media Information Officer from Services Australia. When we come back, ladies and gents, we're going to talk about scamwatch.gov.au, a great website, and Justin's going to tell you all about it. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Hi, and thank you for listening to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly radio program about finance, money, and investing on Radio Northern Beaches and nationally on the Community Radio Network around Australia. The views, comments, and opinions aired during our program should not be construed or viewed as financial advice. Any commentary is general advice only and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. You should consider whether the advice is suitable for you and your personal circumstances. If in doubt, you should contact an authorised licensed financial planner. We welcome questions and feedback, and you can get in touch with us via our blog, social media channels, or email. Please search for Dollars and Making Sense in your favourite podcast platform, or check out our blog at otgcapital.com.au/blog. Hi, and welcome back to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. I'm your host, Ray Trevisan. I'm really pleased to have back at the microphone from Services Australia, Justin Bott, the Media Information Officer. And today we are, talking about scam, because we are coming up to Scam Awareness Week. Now, before we went to the break, we were talking about digital identification. We were talking about multi-factor authentication and passkeys. Now, I think you're right, Justin. It probably takes more time to explain it than actually set it up. So, ladies and gents, please go and do this. It's great. Now, there's a website also that's devoted to helping people around this as well. It's called scamwatch.gov.au. And so does Services Australia do something like that as well?
Yeah, we do. So Scamwatch, basically, they pretty much cover every type of scam that they might know that's out there, not just government related, but bank related or anything else. So they're the ones that will explain what a relationship scam looks like. They're the ones that explain what phishing scams do. Services Australia, we have our own version, but that's particularly focused on Services Australia MyGov related scams. And complicated enough, you go to servicesaustralia.gov.au, search scams, and that'll help bring up the information for you. And it's really about this idea of forewarned is forearmed. If I know what they look like, I'll be able to recognize one.
Very true.
When I actually get one. And so it's keeping your knowledge of what's out there up to date so that you know what's going on. Because unfortunately, they keep coming in various types, or they try something new. And so we try and let everybody know what's going on there. And actually, listeners can help protect everybody else by letting us know what's going on. So if you go to servicesaustralia.gov.au/scams, you can actually see the Services Australia based scams that are out there and how to recognize one. What the sort of things that you're looking for, how to recognize a scam. We talked about the fact that it's got a link in there. If it's got a link, if you're in, and I will say this, if you're in, properly access MyGov the long way around, logged in or used your passkey and went in through your digital device, and you're at your MyGov website and you're the MyGov inbox, then if there are any links in there, knock yourself out, because they're you're in the safe environment. Like, any links that are on any information that you get are legitimate from Services Australia, and you can trust those because you've properly logged into MyGov to make that happen. Any links outside of MyGov, that's another story. That's not us. That's going to be a scam. But the other things that you're looking at, some of the big things, is that it's come from nowhere. So if I haven't done any business with Services Australia for a while, then there's no real reason why they should be talking to me. But if I start getting texts or messages telling me Services Australia is now getting in contact with me about, for whatever reason, well, why now? What's happened now that makes you actually think you want to get in contact with me? So that's a big clue that it's actually not us at all.
Clue. That's a big clue, isn't it?
Yeah. Some other things, there might be some form of threat of punishment or promise of reward. So the threat of punishment, I used to get this over, I don't know if you ever remember these, but nobody rings you anymore. But the ones I used to get over the phone were often telling me that if I didn't do something with the ATO, the Australian Federal Police were going to be knocking down my door. And I used to, look out the window to see if I could see any AFP police cars rocking up on the street side, because surely I was getting these calls every second day. Surely there must be a big issue going on with those. So often there's a threat, you've got to have punitive action. The police are coming, promise of rewards. We've had them saying that there's this one-off bonus payment, but in order to access this bonus payment, you need to put your details on a record or whatever it might be. We absolutely don't do anything like that. That's not how we work at all, but there's a risk. I know at one point they also had one that said, sign in here to get yourself like a everyday Woolworths reward card, and we'll also be able to use that to get extra payments from Services Australia. I'm not sure where that link comes from, but people did it. We had customers coming in saying, I've given my reference number.
A corporate link, a corporate association with a supermarket.
Yes, but it actually happened. So one of the big things, again, when we're talking about tips, when it comes to scams, the thing you're looking for here is to stop, check, and protect. So for stop means stop sharing your personal information like your MyGov sign-in details with anyone. Obviously, that would be a bad idea. Check, ask yourself if the message, the phone call, or the website is genuine. Like Services Australia will call you, and I can tell you it will not actually give you a phone number, because when we call you, it's actually from the phone number is withheld. But it is a legitimate contact from Services Australia, but I understand that in itself may cause concern. So if you're ever called by somebody who says they're from Services Australia and you think that this might be not a legitimate contact, then you're well within your rights, using your best manners just in case it is Services Australia, of course, but to say, look, I'm sorry, I'm just not comfortable answering this, hang up, call us right back on your normal payment line that you'll find on our website. And the customer service officer that you speak to over the phone will be able to tell you straight away if that was a legitimate call from Services Australia or not. So
I must say, Justin, you make a valid point. I remember this would be 18, 24 months ago or more. I had a call from an agency, and they said, hi, I'm from, and I'm not going to name the agency, but they said it was a government agency. I said, that's nice. How can I help you? Oh, we need to verify your details. And I smiled and I said, mate, you're calling me. Okay, I'm not going to give you 1 ounce of information until you validate and verify who you are. Oh, but we are. And I said, that's lovely. I said, tell me the details of what you need and I will call you back. And it ended up being legitimate, but I think that action may have stopped a number of the government call centers, and they went, this is maybe not the best way to go. And like you say, when the government needs to get in touch with me, they simply say, go to your inbox, and away we go from there. And I think that's a really good way to go.
But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way, and sometimes we actually do need to ring people. And also, unfortunately, scammers have just made that really difficult. I'd love to be in a world where I know that if somebody rings me and says that they're from the government, that they are actually from the government. But we are a message against scammers that are actually trying to use the same sorts of words. So
I'm really cynical. I don't believe any of them now, and I just say, you give me a number to call you back on, and I'll call you back. And we end up getting nowhere. And I say, listen, send me an email then. If you tell me you know who I am, great. You send me an email, and I'll respond to the email, and we'll get from there. But I've had that standoff because I just refuse.
Yep.
I might also say there's a good way, and I often say to people as well when we're talking about Scamwatches and the like, it's really important that you do still send out letters and written communications. Very cheap thing that you can actually buy at a department store or whatever, a paper shredder. Anything with your bank details, if you don't keep bank statements or your Centrelink or Services Australia letters, shred them, because that's a really easy thing for people to do, to go through garbage and thieve identity. That you're opening a book there big time. And I know we always talk about cyber threat, but I go back to physical security, and when I'm saying don't forget to shred stuff as well. I think that's really important.
When I get a new laptop, I still go to the old laptop with a hammer and a screwdriver and smash it all up into little bits.
Do you really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Because all I don't have a super-sized magnet to wipe all the old the chips that are in it.
I was about to say a magnet will do the trick. Yeah.
I figure a couple of smashes with a hammer and then breaking it up and distributing over a couple of different bin bags is going to sort of make it much more difficult for somebody to. Not that I've got anything outrageous on the laptop, but again, it's that physical security.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you.
The third one that we mentioned, it was stop check. The third one was protect. And the idea behind protect is if something has actually happened to me. Now, there are two levels of that one. The first one is if you got a scam and you recognize it for what it is. So it's a Services Australia-based scam. You see it, it's come to you. You don't fall for it because you recognize it for what it is. If you've already looked at our scam page and you realize it's already there, they already know about it, that's fine. But feel free to actually email us directly. There's an email us, report a scam, all one word, report a scam, at servicesaustralia.gov.au, where you can email us this new scam so that you let us know that it's going on. The other one is, and this is more importantly, if you think that you have actually been a victim of it, you've unfortunately given them information that you didn't intend to, then you need to protect yourself. And to do that is to give our Scams and Identity Theft Help Desk a call. So their phone number is 1-800-941-126. That's 1-800-941-126. They can do things like put extra levels of security around your payment so that it's not just simply putting your reference number and a PIN number. It's actually extra passwords, protections, and everything to make sure that if somebody's got information, they can't get any further. If they've gone in and done damage, they start the process of trying to undo the damage that they might have done, but also refer you on to identity recovery agencies. Because as we were talking about before, if they've got your information from Services Australia, what else do they have? If they started doing credit cards in your name, taking loans out in your name, how do you protect yourself under those circumstances if your identity has been stolen? So the Scams and Identity Theft Help Desk can refer you to agencies to try and get your digital and online identity, your paperwork identity back to you and give you those levels of protection back again if that's happened. So email us if you recognize one for what it is. Call us if you think you've made a mistake and you think you've accidentally let them in, and keep yourself safe that way.
Now, I think you made a really valid point before we went for our break in today's chat, that don't be embarrassed. I mean, look, I have seen some of the smartest people on the planet that get caught. I inadvertently gave away a Gmail password account that opened up my shopping persona, simply because I clicked, because I was actually expecting a parcel, and I went, oh, the parcel's there, and I didn't even think, and I clicked the button. And this goes back to when we were talking about when you're sending millions and millions of emails out, you only need one to get through.
The timing's just coincidental timing.
Just coincidence.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I then realized and went, oh crap, and I went in there and very quickly changed it, and I thought, God, how did I get caught out like that? And it happens when you get lax, or you're diverted, or don't be embarrassed, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, these things happen to everybody, but I think, Justin, you make a really good point. There are agencies out there that will help you recover your identity, and believe me, the impact can be long lasting, can't it?
Absolutely. Credit ratings can be absolutely destroyed. Make it impossible to get credit cards, get loans, buy things can be very, very bad. So you need to get yourself out of that situation. On the coincidence, I had a mate who was driving around Melbourne, and 3 days later, he got a message saying you've got a fine, or you've got to pay a toll in Melbourne, which was perfectly legitimate because he'd just been driving around Melbourne, except it wasn't legitimate. It was just a scam.
Wow.
That sent it to him at the, just again, coincidence that he'd actually been
Happenstance,
driving
yeah.
it. And so he thought, oh, no, obviously I haven't got my toll set up for Melbourne, so this is legitimate. Click, bang, and you'd open and let them through. So yeah, it's those sort of perspective. You think, how are you supposed to know? It's so coincidental. How are you supposed to know or recognize it for what it is? But it is about being secure, and it is about just thinking first before you actually put those through. So we hope we're all perfect. We hope that none of us make these silly mistakes. But if you do, number one, get on it quick to protect yourself, as you did, to stop there being any longer term implications. Number two, you do that, you're helping your neighbors. You're helping other people across the country to stop them from being scammed. Because when we find out about things like fake websites that are pretending to be MyGov or whatever it might be, we then go and crash them and bring them down. And we do that continuously. So Services Australia and all the government agencies are spending a lot of time out there trying to find these fake ones and trying to smash them and bring them down so that other people don't become a victim. So you may well be helping your neighbour from being a victim by you letting us know. So please keep us on top of it.
Okay, we're out of time. Justin Bott, Services Australia, always a pleasure. Thank you so kindly for your time today, and thank you for being on Dollars and Making Sense.
So much for having me.